Alright, so today I am giving you guys an up close and personal look at the laundry room. There are lots of completed projects, lots of forgotten projects, just lots of things that need some attention and care, some organization that could really use some reordering, and even better, we're going to do it without spending any money. So let's jump in and we are going to tackle this area together. There is even an issue of too much storage in this room, which I will talk about. So let's go ahead and hop in. Okay, if you guys remembered that video where I talked about my one in, one out, I think it was my most recent video, one of the things I mentioned was this blanket. I mentioned how it sheds. Well, I tried washing it and the shedding got worse, and you can see here it shed onto this shirt, and my fabric shaver is not doing the job of getting that mess off, so that's going to be donated. This is one of those water doodle mats. It got very wet and I had to put it in the dryer just kind of on a tumble cycle, and it needs to go back underneath the kitchen sink where it lives. And this area is a really good visual representation of decision fatigue. For me, clothes that are outgrown, projects that need to be fixed or mended. This shirt got a name tag label stuck to it and then it washed that way. Things like that for me just end up piling up until you can't see the surface of the dryer anymore. So that is what I'm doing here, is just going through each of those items and really evaluating what's going on and why is this here. So as I'm going through this area, I am kind of making piles of things that I need to take here or there or take action on in some way. And that really helps me to keep steam and get this whole process done. Even on the sink, there is a collection of some things that need to be there and then some things that just got stuck there by happenstance. So underneath here is where we keep a lot of our more like outside dirty work shoes, but the container is just really not big enough. It's not functional enough. It's not pretty. So I actually ditched that and I came in with this picnic basket. I've had this for a long time. I'm not even sure if I've ever used it. If I do happen to need it for a picnic, I can just pull the shoes out, but for right now, I really like this. So from there, I moved to the cabinets, and you'll have to forgive my voice and me drinking tea here. It is officially allergy season in the middle of February, go figure. So I'm going through these products. I really try to keep my products pretty minimal. One of the reasons is for environmental cleanliness. I don't like using a ton of harsh chemicals, but another reason is just for ease. I like to minimize the products I'm using. Here I am finding something I didn't even know that I had. A lot of times that happens with cleaning out. So that's one thing that's great about cleaning, is that you always end up finding something that you were looking for or didn't know you had. So I'm just going through these products and I'm setting aside ones that I really know that I'll never use. The ones that I will use, but it's less often, I am putting in this little bin. So that way I have them, but they're not cluttered up with my daily laundry items. I did have to put them on this bottom shelf, but everything is much more clearly defined and organized.
So anytime that I'm decluttering, something that I try to ask myself is, what would I do with this? And then after I answer that question, I ask myself, okay, but would you really do that? So these are floor mats that came in my husband's car whenever he bought it, but then he ended up buying some WeatherTech mats that are much nicer, much more durable. So these have just been propped here in the event that we might use them. But then when I ask myself, would we wouldn't, because we have some that are better. So these are likely going to get donated or sold. I'm going to ask him about it, but there's really no reason to keep them anymore, just to have them propped there in case we would use them, but we wouldn't. So sometimes asking those questions is like, okay, yeah, maybe you'd need them, but no, you wouldn't. So sometimes that processing is hard and it feels kind of like wasteful, but then it's so much more wasteful for it to sit here when it could be serving someone else.
Okay, and here is the finished project. Oh my goodness, I love it so much. Of course, you know, life happens in here, laundry happens in here, but a little bit of fresh artwork, some flowers that my daughter picked, really prioritizing the things that your eye is going to see first and often, and trying to make those things functional and beautiful. I was actually able to clear out all of the other cabinets, and that was really important to me, to only use this one cabinet because I really just don't need to fill it up with other things. When we first got married almost 10 years ago, I can remember somebody giving me this advice. They said, when you move in, it's going to feel like you have all of this space that you need to fill up with stuff. And they just said, my advice to you is to resist that urge to fill it up with stuff. And they said, you will end up down the road wanting to clear out and make more space. So just start from the beginning and don't acquire more than you need to begin with. And I've just never forgotten this. So that's been important to me as I go through this space, to really think about what things do we really need in this space. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.